I sold our house to her lover before she landed. Doorbell rings while I'm taping up a welcome home banner that says we missed you, which is funny because I didn't. I open the door. Roses. Suitcase. A grin that screams protein powder. Hey, bro, he says, like we share a locker. Garage code still work? For later? His suitcase has a leather tag with monogrammed initials that match her work trip itinerary. My petty meter pegs the red. The house is our only big asset. I'm not crying about this. I'm going to be clever. I smile, hand him a key fob I keep for guests, and decide I'm selling him something he already thinks he owns. Cracks in the paint. 5 years married. One fixer-upper. She picked the farmhouse sink. I wrestled it into the countertop at 2 a.m. with YouTube and a prayer. I did the fixing floors, cabinets, the fence. The wind keeps auditioning for flight school. She did the networking, charity dinners, late meetings, and a rolling suitcase that lived by the door like a pet. The cracks didn't start loud, a trip that left on a flight number that didn't exist, but somehow the perfume existed, clinging to the passenger seat like a stubborn ghost. Must be from the boutique, she said, breezy. Yeah, the boutique named Derek's Cologne. Then Mrs. Garcia, our neighborhood's unofficial security camera with a cardigan, spotted the gym friend leaving at sunrise. Always stretches before he sits, she told me over the fence. Suspicious hips. I nodded like that was data we could submit to the court. Her parents adore her. My mother-in-law thinks I'm too sensitive and bad at brunch, which is wild because I make a hollandaise that could get a standing ovation. My father-in-law calls me sport, which is not my name, while offering advice about keeping your lady. I've kept plants alive longer. So I started logging red flags like grocery receipts. The missing charger that reappeared in a stranger's car. The plane photos that came with palm trees 2 hours before her plane supposedly landed. The way she said, "You're overthinking," like it was my hobby. I wasn't bitter. I was done. Don is quiet and organized. Don labels the bins. And then the doorbell. Roses. Suitcase. Monogram tag that matched the initials on the itinerary she left in the printer, because fate has a sense of humor and she never checks the print tray. He called me bro, asked for the garage code for later. Later? Bold choice, Derek. He didn't introduce himself, so I decided his name on sight. He had Derek energy. Forgive me if he's actually taught. He rolled the suitcase over the threshold like he'd been here. He looked around like a contractor doing an estimate of my life. She told me about the house, he said. Said it's her dream. Her dream? Cute. My dream has knee scars and a wireless drill. He set the roses on the counter I sanded with 4 fingers full of splinters and gave me a grin that tried to hug me. You must be cool, man. You get it. I do get it. I get that you showed up to my house with flowers and a suitcase while my wife is flying home. I get that you think you already live here in your head. And I get that the only way I walk out of this with my spine straight is if I turn this stage lights on and let the scene play. So I smiled, gave him the guest fob we keep for dog sitters, and said, if you're here for later, you should probably see what you're getting into. He blinked. Like a tour. Exactly like a tour, I said. You know, so you can appreciate her dream properly. He laughed because men like Derek love an inside joke they don't understand. While he trailed me into the kitchen, I clocked all the quiet work I'd done. The cabinet door that only lines up when you close it with a little hip bump. The corner where the paint is half a shade off because the store ran out of eggshell. The tile I laid with a bend in it that we called character. Our life was in the flaws. And here I was about to use those flaws as bullet points. But first, inventory the stakes. The house is our only big asset. There's some equity. There's my pride. There's the dog who idolizes whoever holds the peanut butter. There's also the part of me that kept shrinking to keep the peace. He's filing a complaint. I'm not going to torch the place or throw plates. I'm going to be clever. Petty without being mean. Okay, a little mean. Petty with jazz hands. I can laugh while I draw a boundary. I'll remember it's mine. Mrs. Garcia peered through the front window like we were a matinee. She mouthed, "You okay?" I gave a tiny thumbs up, which is neighbor code for "I'm fine, but keep watching." She nodded, disappeared, and immediately reappeared with a notepad, because she's the stenographer none of us deserve. Derek? Fine. Maybe he's a Lucas, but I'm committed. Wandered into the living room and did the arms-wide gesture people do when they imagine a couch they won't assemble. "Oh yeah," he said. "We talked about placing the sectional there." "Did you?" I said, neutral as tap water. Well, good news. The structural integrity of that wall can support all kinds of bad decisions. He didn't catch it. He never would. That's the thing about people who march into the middle of your life. They only hear the beat they're dancing to. The inciting incident wasn't him showing up. It was me deciding the house wouldn't be the casualty. It would be the stage. I didn't have to scream. I could set props, hand out programs, and let the audience draw conclusions. If he wanted in, I'd sell him the idea of ownership he'd already bought. So I took a breath, straightened the "We missed you" banner sagging over the doorway like a tired eyelid, and said in my best open house voice, "Welcome to the last day. This is free." Act 1, the petty plan lights up. Here's the goal, plain as the smudge on the stair rail. Hit her wallet and her ego without raising my voice, and definitely without crying. That's not my brand. My brand is labels on bins and revenge with receipts. If he thinks he's walking into a ready-made life, I'm going to charge admission. "Quick question," I say casual. "How serious are you about her dream?" He perks up like a golden retriever hearing car keys. "Dead serious, man." "Perfect," I say, because dreams aren't cheap. "In love?" "Love has holding costs." He does a confused smile. It's adorable. I open the junk drawer, our shrine to expired batteries, and pull out a stack of printer paper. I'm going to need a minute to drop an agreement. "An agreement?" "Standard stuff," I say. "A gentleman's pre-occupancy understanding. You know, since you're already preoccupied." He nods, like he's very business. I sit at the table and write a title across the top in heroic font. "Agreement to purchase domestic serenity." I underline it twice. I add a seal, which is a doodle of our dog wearing a judge's wig. I'm not proud. I'm thrilled. Clause 1. Buyer acknowledges he is acquiring the right to contribute to mortgage-adjacent vibes and will not disturb existing harmony except by consent and scheduled vacuuming. Clause 2. Buyer agrees to assume all responsibilities for her dream, including but not limited to sourcing seasonal throw pillows, pretending to like the rustic ladder no one uses, and maintaining a basil plant despite a known black thumb. Clause 3. A non-refundable love deposit will be held in trust by the Neighborhood Association Arts and Snacks Fund. 4. Culture. Translation for my nervous system, proof that I'm not the only one investing anymore. Clause 4. Exclusive license to her garden, minus the tomatoes, which belong to me and the squirrel who intimidates me. Clause 5. In the event of buyer remorse, see cancellation terms, public apology, full confession to the street group chat, purchase of all remaining cookies from Mrs. Garcia's never-ending bake sale. I'm cackling internally. Out loud, my voice is NPR calm. "Just some legalese," I say. He leans over the counter. "How much is the deposit?" "Depends," I say, tapping the pen like a tiny metronome. "How much is she worth to prove you're not just playing house?" "Round numbers keep the math clean." He squints at the banner. "Like 10? That's tidy," I say. "And you strike me as tidy." His face does that thing where confidence and fear register at the same time. "Venmo okay?" "Venmo okay?" "Venmo is sentimental," I say. "It leaves hearts." Before I send him my handle, I call Cousin Priya on speaker. She's paralegal, adjacent, with a minor and yelling at me. She answers mid-side. "What have you done?" "Nothing yet," I say. Hypothetically, if one were to create a ceremonial document to commemorate a romantic investment, no, she says. "Absolutely not." "Great," I say. So I'm hearing a soft yes with firm eyebrows. "Don't put my name on anything." and this is not legally binding. Obviously, I say, scribbling her name under witness because comedy demands sacrifice. This is emotionally binding. Different code. She groans. I'm texting you a voice note that says stop. Play it for yourself until you get tired. Love you, I say, and hang up before she can save me. I turn the paper toward him like a game show board. We can tailor the terms. For example, I can throw in a one-time courtesy tutorial on the dishwasher that only starts if you whisper encouragement. He looks at the clauses, then at the house, then at me. I mean, if this makes her happy. My brain whispers the old reflex. Keep it easy, make it smooth. And I turn the volume down. Not today. That's the spirit, I say, and I mean it with the exact level of sincerity required to sell a timeshare. He bites his lip. I'll need to see everything. Here it is, I say. Follow me, investor. We move room to room while I narrate like I'm guiding a safari. Here's the living room, featuring floating asymmetric shelving. Some call it bent, but we embrace unconventional geometry. These floors, artisan, distressed by 2 years of pandemic pacing. The thermostat requires a firm tap and an apology. He nods like he's buying stock. And the neighborhood? Supportive, I say, as Mrs. Garcia's silhouette flits past the window. Built-in accountability. In the bathroom, I point to the faucet that spins left for both hot and cold. European, I lie. In the bedroom, I gesture at the closet I rebuilt after it tried to collapse on my suits. Open concept, sometimes literally. Back in the kitchen, I line up 2 mugs like we're doing business. So, the deposit, non-refundable. Apples to apples, Tin buys a lot of pillows. If he flinches here, I learn who he is. If he doesn't, I learn faster. He swallows. Okay, for her. The Venmo ding hits like a piccolo in a marching band. I feel it in my spinal cord. I keep my face steady. I'll note receipt. He exhales. So, I'm in. You're in the audition room, I say. Final callbacks when we sign. He grins, radiant. What else do you need? One last signature acknowledging the cancellation terms, I say casually, circling the part where he agrees to public contrition on cookie purchases. Just a formality. He hesitates, then shrugs. And if it's for her, I slide him the pen. It's one of those free clinic pens that always writes, even on nonsense. He scrawls his name with the wrong flourish. Interesting. I tuck that away like a spare key. Then I text her lover, my newest client, for words. If you love her, prove it. He stares at his phone, then at me. Done. I smile because the clock is ticking and my next moves need props. I pull a stash of sticky notes and start labeling the house like a boutique. Under offer on the toaster. Under offer on the throw blanket. Under offer on the dog bed, which earns me a judgmental blink. He laughs, delighted. Of course he does. He thinks he's winning. I think I am too. And now, all I need is witnesses. Try fail 1, courting the buyer. Tension check. I need his signature in a fat deposit before her flight lands. I've got the ding. I need the scribble. And I need to keep him inside the fantasy long enough to ink it. He wants a tour of the full rom-com montage. Perfect. I start in the foyer, sweep my hand like a cruise director. Note the soft, natural light that makes everyone look like they've slept. He chuckles. She said the light here is magical. It is, I say. It also exposes dust, like an IRS audit, so we worship at the altar of the Swiffer. Up the stairs. I make a stop at the gallery of crooked frames. This is our abstract phase. Some say the studs are uneven. I say the house has opinions. He laughs too hard, like he's auditioning for me. That helps. I nudge the attic door open and it groans like a ship. Historical soundscape, I say. We climb halfway. A moth does a jump scare, and he hops back into me, chest to back. Whoa, it's okay, I soothe. Moth's on payroll. The security. I hold the door like a gentleman and, oh no, there's the little porcelain clown face someone thought was whimsical. He spots it and shivers. What's that? Legacy fixture, I say. Optional. We can negotiate an amnesty clause. Back downstairs, Mrs. Garcia materializes by the back window like a screensaver. She taps the glass, then pantomimes a realtor's slow nod. I crack the door. Everything good, Mrs. G? She slides in a plate of cookies like a bride. Watt Bakery. Presenting comps. 2 streets over. 3. 2 with a carport. Closed at 5:30. Yours? With emotional square footage? Priceless. She side-eyes him so gently you almost miss the dagger. Appreciate the data, I say. He beams at her. Hi, I'm visiting, she says. Then to me, you okay? Under supervision, I say. She approves. She always approves of supervision. Back to the living room. I gesture at my warped shells. Custom floating, asymmetric. One of a kind. He taps them with a knuckle. Are they supposed to wiggle? They're dancing, I say. We respect expressive furniture. He tries to negotiate. Look, man, I'm in, but 10's a lot for a symbolic thing. Maybe we shave a little, or you toss in something big. Like, I don't know, exclusive rights to her garden? My smile does not move. Exclusive rights to her garden, I repeat, writing it down. Includes basil. Excludes tomatoes and the squirrel who answers to no one. Deal, he says, pleased with himself. And the garage gym? Access contingent on wiping down benches and not flexing near the water heater. She's sensitive. He nods solemnly, like I'm inducting him into a lodge. We stroll into the laundry room. State-of-the-art washer if you're fine with hand cranking the spin cycle during even-numbered cycles. It keeps us humble. He frowns. Kidding, I add? Mostly. We lean on the island. Time to firm up. Next up is acknowledgement of the cancellation terms and an initial here. I tap the line so I can prepare the welcome package. What's the welcome package? 2 months of HOA fees prepaid, a map of trash days, and stewardship of my curse. Sourdough starter. He answers to breadward. He bites. He blinks. Breadward. Do not feed after midnight, I say flatly. He can't tell if I'm joking. Good. We exist in the uncanny valley where contracts live. Phone buzz. Group chat. Street Watchers Anonymous. Someone posts a blurry picture of my cereal box. Sold sign prototype drying on the porch. Caption, is he okay? Mrs. Garcia replies with a thumbs up and a gif of a gavel. I show him none of it. He doesn't need to know we already have an audience. He circles the kitchen like a shark at an open house. So this is really happening. As much as love can happen between paperwork, I say. Now, about that signature. He picks up the pen, sets it down, picks it up again. I just don't want to step on toes. Great instinct, I say, sliding a coaster under the pen for no reason. Put that care into your cursive. He breathes, then scribbles. There's his full last name. A flourish where a vowel should be. Noted. He adds a heart dotting the I. Of course he does. Venmo dings. Again, he's sending more. Memo. For love and pillows. I am a statue. Received, I say, like a bank. He wants more assurances. Will her parents be cool? Psychology note. Men who ask for referees before a play often plant a foul. They think whoever buys gluten-free confetti is a saint, I say. If you bring pastries, her mom will knight you with a brunch fork. He laughs, nervous. I toss him a cookie. Fuel. Wait, Mrs. Garcia texts me a selfie with 2 thumbs up and a caption. He's soft. Press. I press. One more stop. The patio. We step outside. The wind flips the "We missed you" banner into a surrender flag. I point to the string lights. Romance on a dimmer. Also, don't touch that top bulb. It's wired to our neighbor's Halloween witch and she cackles at random. Some symbolism writes itself. My house cackles when clowns touch the wiring. He's charmed. Of course he is. He imagines evenings out here, her head on his shoulder, their shared dream. I imagine receipts. Final piece, I say, holding the contract like a pizza box. Initial by the line that says you agree to the cookie clause. He grins and signs, confidence restored by carbs. There. All in. Turn, Venmo dings, signature smears. He used the side of his hand, wet ink. My contract now reads like poetry in thread. Legal chaos potential skyrockets. I smile, gentle as a lullaby. Beautiful. Now, let's get those sticky notes ready. The clock is ticking, and I need this place looking very under offer. Micro drama, in-laws meddle early. My phone lights up with mother-in-law, confetti emoji, siren emoji. I answer like customer service. Hi, Brenda. Can you pick up gluten-free confetti for tonight? She chirps. Sensitive tummies. I'm busy selling your daughter's dream, I say, stirring my coffee like a villain. Pause. Selling what? The dream house, I say calmly. Big day for love. She lowers to her whisper, knife voice. Is this one of your bits? Only the legally non-binding parts, I say. We're celebrating commitment. Click. Father-in-law jumps in on three-way. Sport, he says, which remains not my name. Men make mistakes. Forgive quickly. It's attractive. Does forgiveness take cash or credit? I ask. Asking for a lover. He coughs. Brenda exhales through a flute. We don't appreciate sarcasm. Accept appreciation in cookies, I say. Also, please know there's a very tasteful deposit involved. A text pings. It's Loverboy on my couch, throwing a peace sign with our dog who has no loyalty, only peanut butter ethics. Caption, first day in the dream. I stare at it, then hit forward and select family thread by muscle memory. Oops. Air quotes around oops. 3 dots bubble like a pot about to boil. Brenda, who is that on my daughter's sofa? Father-in-law, is that a man in our home? Me, prospective steward of family memories. Thoth, Brenda calls back immediately. We're coming over, she announces. And don't you dare be dramatic. Great, I say sweetly. I'll stage cookies. I also stage my face. Calm as a pond. Angry men get dismissed. Calm men get contracts signed. I hang up and face my audience of 2, Loverboy and Mrs. Garcia's silhouette, now holding binoculars for no reason except flourish. We're about to have a walkthrough with executive stakeholders, I tell him. Time to present strong. Her parents, he says, bright and terrified. Think of them as lenders, I say. They value stability, gluten-free items, and people who say no worries even when worrying. I go full open house mode. Sticky notes bloom on every surface. Under offer on the mixer. Under offer on the framed photo of us at a pumpkin patch I hated. I adjust pillows with the precision of a surgeon. I light the fancy candle she reserves for guests we actually like. I put out Mrs. Garcia's bride plate and angle it like a spread in a magazine called Regret. Mrs. Garcia taps the glass. Do you want municipal gossip or calming crystals? Gossip, I say. Always gossip. She slides in like a stagehand. City inspector says the cul-de-sac trash day might move to Thursday. She drops it like a twist. Also, your in-laws are 2 blocks out. I saw the car and the disapproval. Perfect, I say. Can you stay and present comps? She brightens. I brought laminated charts. A neighbor with spreadsheets is worth 3 therapists and a doorbell camera. The door opens before I can pretend I didn't hear the knocking. Brenda sweeps in with father-in-law puffed behind her like a parade balloon. She clocks the sticky notes, the candle, the lover, the banner. Her face does a 3-act play in 2 seconds. What, she says, is happening? I smile like a receptionist. Welcome to our open house. Please note the under offer tags. We are in escrow with feelings. Father-in-law points at lover boy. Who are you? Prospective steward of family memories, I say smoothly. Strong financial provider invested in seasonal decor. Lover boy tries a handshake. Brenda doesn't take it. She scans the walls hawk-eyed. This paint, she says, pinching an invisible flaw. Patchy. Vintage patina of commitment, I say. We're leaning into story-rich surfaces. If I can name the mess without rage, I can leave it without guilt. Mrs. Garcia steps forward with cookies and municipal gravitas.